Monday morning. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together every day, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, and of course, hopefully get you completely updated on what there is to know weather-wise. First off, this morning, the big story continues to be Tropical Storm Fiona. 8 a.m. intermediate advisory has just come out, and Fiona is now stronger. Maximum sustained winds at 70 miles an hour. This is a storm system that is on the verge of becoming a hurricane, and for our friends and family in Puerto Rico, certainly hurricane conditions are expected, especially on the southern edge there of Puerto Rico. We are going to be talking about every element there, making sure we know what's going on. But before we get to that, I want to talk about our local forecast, and I want to highlight the fact that Fiona will not be a direct impact to us, okay? So very important to note. That said, let's look outside live, see what's doing on our Tower Cam network. Hey, it's beautiful as we look over toward Maitland, toward Altamont Springs. How's about over to downtown? Oh, it is gorgeous. Just a handful of clouds over top of us. Rise and shine, my friends. You have made it to Sunday. Temperatures out the door feeling outstanding. Lower, it's not 86 in Winter Haven. I think that weather sensor is all fakakta. 73 in Orlando, 72 degrees in Ocala. We have been watching a few areas of showers. Take a look up here around Lake Volusia, even Marion County, watching a little bit of shower activity here. In addition to that, we've also been watching, if I can type the word, we've also been watching pockets of fog. Do want to make sure you know Volusia Flagler visibility is down to about a quarter mile or so for parts of us, and even southern Sumter County there, watching a little bit of fog kind of creeping in from the Nature Coast. So keep that in mind, my friends. It's not a perfectly perfect morning. We do have a little bit of weather issue out there. First warning Doppler radar going to become more active later on today. So let's get to our local forecast, get this done and over with, and then we can look out to the tropics and really focus in on Fiona. Temperatures today, nice and comfy this morning. Do notice, though, that we climbed to about 83 by 11 o'clock and 85 degrees by 1. So it is going to be an active day. A warm day, but at least we get a little bit of that comfort this morning, right? Good morning to you, my friends. Good morning, good morning. Nancy, how are you? David, good morning to you. Omar, with an H. I've never seen it spelled that way. I hope I said your name right. Ellen, good morning to you. All right, so that's where we're at here locally. Let's take a look at Futurecast and just get through timing here, and then we'll go to the tropics, because certainly that is the big story in town, right? There we go. A few spotty showers trying to get going around lunchtime or so. Notice through time here, we're going to continue with the rain beginning to develop up here around Flagler, Volusia County, pockets of heavy rainfall. And then we start to push that into the metro area, thunder, lightning from about UCF and Avalon Park back over to downtown Orlando. New batch of stormy weather up around, say, Barberville and Bunnell. Then we start to push things into Brevard County. That's 6 p.m. Notice the timestamp there, even out towards Sumter Lake, Marion County. And then we begin to quiet things down. So all said and done, it's going to be a nice day. Average high temperatures 90. We're going to fall just shy of that. No complaints in that department, right? All right, that's where we're at weather-wise. Do want to point out there are two hurricane hunters that are flying inside of Fiona as we speak. It's a NOAA P-3 Orion, and it is a United States Air Force C-130. Okay, 191 miles an hour. Obviously, the SFMR is not showing good data off of the P3, at least on that one. But they did find pressures beginning to lower. They also found winds beginning to pick up, and it is that 68 mile per hour report there that caused the Hurricane Center to up the initial intensity. So here's the satellite imagery. Here's the latest on Fiona. Still a tropical storm, but it is intensifying, and I do think more than likely this is going to become a hurricane a little bit later on today. My biggest concern is not that it could be a hurricane for the islands. Okay, because it's already almost as strong as it's going to be for them. So that's not the biggest concern. To me, the biggest concern is going to be the rain. Guadalupe there, Dominica, Martinique. These islands saw a footish of rain out on Guadalupe there. They got 17 inches of rain I saw on just one weather station over a couple of days' time. They got 12.7 inches of rain in 24 hours' time. So, obviously terrain plays into this. In Florida, a foot of rain in a day is a big deal, right? But add to it terrain, you could be talking about flash flooding. So certainly for Puerto Rico, that to me is a big concern. So let's take our Futurecast model and let's just run this through time, okay? Notice that shield of rain, that first shield of rain, 9:30, 10 a.m., right? But then watch what happens into this afternoon. Then we start to get that next wave of energy, the real intense tropical downpours. And that does have me concerned. I mean, if I'm honest, that does have me concerned because it's in that vicinity that we could be talking about the flash flooding and, of course, all of those peripheral impacts, right? A lot of us have friends or family there. It gets even more intense looking ahead to late this afternoon because, according to Futurecast, not only is this storm system developing, but more than likely is trying to come ashore on around Ponce, on that southern part, that southwest part of the island, right? There's 5 p.m. And then later on, it kind of scrapes across and then starts to move out and then even perhaps gets stronger. And you can kind of see like that piece right there. That's the most intense part, okay? Zashira says, can't believe exactly 5 years after Hurricane Maria, this is happening to my island. A couple of things I want to take and underline, okay? The first thing is, this is not a Hurricane Maria, okay? That was a major hurricane. This is a tropical storm. But every storm is different. Like when you think about Maria, it came in like a battle axe with that wind. In this case, this is going to come in like Noah's Ark. It's going to be a big flooding event. And that's why storms get names. And I've seen a couple of things that I don't love posted online. The first thing is, oh, it's only a tropical storm. Well, tell that to the people that got 16 inches of rain in the Caribbean, okay? That's number one. Number two, every storm has its own personality, right? So look at the overall, and I'm just using the European, you could apply whichever model you'd like, but using the European model, just look at how much rain we're expecting, okay? Seriously, let's just come over here to Puerto Rico, okay? Ponce, highlighted there in like pink purple, you're talking 18, that's the European model saying, in addition to what we've already had, 18 to 24 inches of additional rainfall. Okay, now, I don't care if you're a tropical island or if you're the Sunshine State of Florida. 18 to 24 inches of rain. That's a real deal, people. So just because it's not a hurricane doesn't mean that the impacts couldn't be as impactful, right? It just, every storm is different. Every storm is different, okay? Just so that you know, in terms of power outages, okay? In terms of power outages, out of the 1.5 million people that are tracked, there are already almost 140,000 people without power, okay? And what's interesting is that the power outages are kind of in this area right in here. So if you've got friends or family that are there, it's one of those things. I don't know, do I track Puerto Rico power? Hold on, let me look, stand by. Give it a second, system's running a little slow this morning. I'm pushing it, I know, that's fine. No, okay. Oh, I am, but it's broken. All right, I'll have to fix the code. Anyway, yeah, 137,000 people without power in Puerto Rico. All right, so that's where we're at. Real fast, let me load this since we're talking about recon data. I'm going to show you, and it's going to take it a few seconds to load. This is not something I would ever show on TV. So if the boss is watching, I'm never going to show this on TV. It is far too complex. But I built it for Coffee Talk and for tweeting. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen this. It takes forever to load because it's an incredibly complex scene. All right, what I'm tracking here, though, is raw data off of the hurricane hunters, okay? Let me just bring it full screen. So what we're looking at here is kind of the map. This is where they found those pressures. You had a 989 and a 990 millibar, okay? Highlighted in red is the United States Air Force recon flight, okay, which is right here on the left. And then on the right, you've got the P-3 Orion. They don't fly over land. They kind of try and go up and around land, and that has to do with choppiness, okay? So there's the C-130 hitting 990 millibars. Then a few minutes later, the P-3 hit 989 millibars, so this is measuring pressure. And when you see these big dips, it's just drop-offs of data, okay? Like in green here, that's just drop-offs of data. Obviously, we just got a live update. All right, so for winds, one thing that's interesting to me, this seems very suspect to me. The P-3 nowhere near the peak convection, and yet obviously we know that one of those registered 198 miles per hour, which is suspect. So I'm wondering personally if the NOAA flight is having SFMR issues because they registered those high winds. So for now, we're just kind of marking that out because they were not at the peak of coverage. So take that, cross that out, okay? But if you look, you can kind of see the C-130 did see those winds right up to about hurricane force. So more than likely, we'll get another pass, and you can see, the C-130 is inbound right now. So they'll be heading back in, and probably, my gut feeling says is that they're going to fly back to the center, which is probably somewhere in here, and that they'll probably try and punch through this kind of area of convection. I'm guessing that area of convection will be powerful enough. And then what's interesting is if the hurricane hunters then get into hurricane force winds, do we then see an upgrade? Does the National Hurricane Center upgrade this and call it Hurricane Fiona? We'll see. Zashir is asking, do you think all the mountains in south would break up Fiona, but she continues to strengthen? Well, remember, the center of circulation is out and offshore. That's important because that's where the energy is truthfully coming from. All the circulation around it can be over land, but it's that center of circulation. It's that center of circulation that is the energy source. Does anyone watch the news broadcasts to compare how much of what we see actually makes it on TV? What do you mean, Jenny? Like I can tell you this is nerd stuff. This will never make it on TV. Maybe, I may break this apart and just show the wind or just show the pressure, but, showing both at the same time. I mean, this is kind of a live analysis tool that I've got to watch it. So no, this will never make it. And all of these graphics are at least built to standards to be able to show on TV. But yeah. Saul says hi from Puerto Rico. Saul, where are you in Puerto Rico? Would you care to share where you are and kind of what you're experiencing? Zashir says, LOL, we love all the nerdy stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Omar says, nerds rule. I think so. Listen, I was made fun of as a kid, but hey, while everybody makes fun of me, I have not worked a day in my life, and I've done TV weather for 22 years-ish. Yeah, actually, 21. It's 21 years. I'm going on. I started in television in September of 2001. So yeah, I'm going on my 22nd year. Carolyn says, show the nerd stuff. We need to educate them. I would say that the boss who signs my paycheck is not so excited about showing the nerd stuff, so we're not going to show the nerd stuff on TV. But this is where we nerd out. And I'm going to be doing it, right? 'Tis education, Sharon says. Saul says, right now we have sprinkles, and I will say like 20-mile-per-hour winds. Very calm at this time. Very good, Saul. Take care, bud. Seriously. One thing that I will say is that Puerto Rico, and I have family in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, everybody there has been through hurricanes. This is not a hurricane. This is not going to be a big wind event. This is going to be a big rain event. And it's just kind of given the atmospheric dynamic, So that's my biggest concern, if I'm honest. I'm a weather nerd for my field work, Michael says. Giddy up. Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. You see this, though? Interestingly enough, it's the P3, the NOAA P3 that's going to beat the C-130 to the core. So we should be getting some new recon data here shortly. And while we're just talking tropics, we can kind of watch the live data coming in here. Stacy, did you start when you were 5 years old? No. So I won't hide anything here. I'm 38, and I started when I was in high school. Yeah, I was the youngest intern ever at the television station I interned at, which I now get to compete against, and I love that. So anyway, yeah, today's my son Aiden's 14th birthday. My gosh, 14. Oh, I'm sure that I'll be right there eventually, God willing. Just not too fast. I don't want my kids to grow up too fast. Isn't that what everybody says, right? Wow. We are here for the nerd stuff. Who needs TV? Well, that's why we do the nerd stuff here, because we can't really do it on TV. Then the audience isn't there. If you're here to talk weather, it's because you're here to talk weather. So let's talk weather, That is a different venue. I tell my school talks all the time, my job as a TV meteorologist is to tell you the 4 most important things. Do you know what those are? My job as a TV meteorologist is to share 4 important things with you. Is it hot or cold? Is it wet or dry? That's the TV side. Now, we get in depth on some things, certainly, but it's got to be kind of surfacey. This is where we get a little more beyond the surface. Also want to point out, so there's the P3 in green, and while I'm marking that as bad data, notice that they're already hitting SFMR readings around hurricane intensity as they're getting in there. So to me it'll be interesting to see. Now they're starting to get to the point where the pressure is going to be dropping a little bit. Where is it? Right now, 989 is the lowest pressure that we have read. So, watch to see where the pressure goes on that green color. And I'm just going to, while we're talking, I'll just leave this up. If you've got a question, we can, of course, go to another graphic. But to me, this is the fascinating stuff. This is like watching it live develop right up until the time where I have to go do TV. And I can tell you that even after TV, I will be monitoring this, and I will be putting out information as best I can through the morning to keep you updated. Yeah. Let's see here. My son is going to start driving next year. It goes by fast. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love to be beyond the surface. Oh, me too. Rosebud said, kids are like puppies. You want them to stay that way. It's true. Listen, my Stella's getting old, and it's a little heartbreaking. I've never had a dog before her, so I tell Jeannie all the time, Stella's my first love. Nothing will go in between Stella and I. Nothing. Kenneth says, local TV news only breaks the local for one thing, politics, which is thankfully disallowed here because we don't all agree to disagree. I mean, listen, Kenneth, I would say local news does a great job of getting into local news. But yeah, maybe they break down the politics more is what you mean. But I think that even in weather, we break down weather pretty good. All right, look at that. It's a race. It's so funny. It's a race to see who gets there first, right? You've got both the P3 and the C-130 getting awful close. Yeah, within the next few minutes. And of course, what's going to end up happening is it's going to end up being that right when I have to go do my TV hit is when we're going to, get the data off of these to recon missions. But if anyone's curious, they are not going, they are flying at different altitudes. They are tracking each other on traffic collision avoidance systems. It's not like two planes, have a threat to fly into each other, okay? Beth says, thank you, Eric, I feel better knowing that my daughter over there will not blow away. Yeah, I mean, this is not going to be a big wind event. Rain, different story. Yeah. Thank you very much, Frank. I appreciate it. Audra says, I got interested in meteorology at 13 because I was watching Hurricane Bonnie intently on the North Carolina coast. I contemplated that for college, but marine biology won. Well, Audra, it's okay. You can be a nerd in many different fields, and that's great. I remember Bonnie. I remember that season. Oh, yeah. Any information on the Bahamas? Thankfully, this should stay east enough so that the Bahamas just gets maybe some rougher chop, and that's kind of the same thing for us. How much time? 2:30. Okay. All right. You had me scared there for a second. Totally agree on your Stella comments. Us too. Yeah. Carolyn's asking, are those planes at different flight levels? Yes. I mean, to be on an IFR flight plan, you have to have some separation. So yes. Yes. I know, Rosebud, that they seem awfully close to each other, but here, let me put the distance on there. They're pretty far apart. Yeah, right now they're 43 miles apart. So, there's definitely some separation. And even if they get closer to each other, they will keep at a safe distance. Thankful to say, knock on wood, we have never lost a recon mission. We've gotten close a few times, such as Hurricane Hugo, and there's an incredible read on that. But yeah, thankfully that's the case. No, there's one wave in the open Atlantic that has a low-end chance of developing. 1:30 to the Today Show cut-in. But I would say it's certainly not a threat. It's not going to be anything that's going to be a big concern for us. So, we'll watch it, but, all said and done, this is definitely the big game in town. And thankful for us, it's not going to be a big impact for us. You're the only weatherman I listen to. Cheryl, thank you, my dear. Shauna, Bermuda in the house watching. Thank you for the coverage. Of course, well, if anybody has to watch this, other than, of course, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, it's going to be Bermuda because we are expecting this to be getting stronger as it lifts out of the Caribbean. And at that point, yeah, I'm a big science nerd, which is why I'm here. Giddy up, Audra. Thank you for joining us. Am I really going to have to do this? I want this next piece of... All right, I will tweet it out, okay? I will tweet it out. I'm like waiting for this data, but I've got to go do TV. Dang it. All right. Well, let's end with at least the 7-day forecast, okay? Showers and thunder showers around today. We're going with a healthy 60% coverage of rain. Same thing tomorrow, but notice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those rain chances start to drop off. Drier air is ahead. I'm sorry. I'll tweet it out, okay? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'm going to go run and do TV. Bye, guys.